What's up, everyone? Back again for another episode of One and Done. Here with Zeke. How's it going, Zeke?
Good. Tired. Pretty tired. It's been a long 2 weeks.
Yeah, well, you had the huge weekend couple weekends ago, or last weekend ago, I guess, with the regionals going on with Dragon Ball Super, and then the Tournament Power at the same time,
And the
happening
expo.
and the Expo, yeah, all happening in Vegas. And then this past weekend, we had MagicFest going on in Reno, which you also went to. So
Yes.
yeah, just tell us how it went and what your thoughts were.
Oh, it was fun. It was great. It's always good to be in Nevada. You know, there's always stuff to do, but the reason why I like Nevada is because the hobby shops in both Vegas and Reno just blow me out of the water every time. Just the hobby shops alone. I'm not even talking about the conventions and the events and everything. Like just going into Nevada, going to Reno and Vegas. Like when I was in Vegas, I saw first edition fossil boxes. I saw alpha beta cards. I saw vintage video games. Like that was just in Vegas, and then Reno I saw similar stuff like with vintage stuff. Like just the hobby stores there definitely invest a lot more for both players and collectors. Like the player base for Magic out there is really big.
That's
which
awesome.
and I thought it was really cool. So I collect. I have a diverse collection, and I've been looking for a specific card for 5-6 months now. And because the cost of the card is expensive in a heavy played condition, I told myself that if I'm already spending this much money, similar to a similar topic we spoke on, if I'm spending this much money on a card, I might as well try to buy it in person to just at least have a satisfactory purchase
Yeah.
instead of being unhappily surprised when I get it in the mail. So I decided to go to Magic Fest to look for this card, and dude, it was amazing. Like it was cool seeing Power Nines just right there in front of you. I saw unlimited Power Nines master sets. I saw a graded master set of beta. Like it was just really really cool. I saw a couple alpha cards. Alpha Power Nines. So it was just like from a collector's perspective, like if you're a Magic collector, dude, go to Magic Fest every time. Like you'll vendors there have some of the most high end shit you'll ever see. Like it is great, and the thing is,
And it's probably going to be cheaper too, right? Than having to go through eBay and stuff. They'll probably hook you up
oh
with a
yeah,
better price, less
y-
fees, maybe even more if it's, or better deal if it's like just cash right up
I,
front.
I will tell you right now, if you bring cash, you can haggle like up to 20. I was able to haggle 20, 30% off of certain cards.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Bringing cash, because the thing is, from the seller's perspective, if you're spending 10 grand on a card, selling a $10,000 card, the seller's bringing back maybe 8,500 after shipping, insurance, eBay fee, PayPal fee. You're losing roughly about 15%, and if and you go through the hassle and the stress of possibly the card being shipped, and having difficulties and issues. So I think it's really cool that you can go to the event and the seller's like, oh, I'll take 8 grand for a 10,000, because they know that in their pocket it's going to be probably the same, and there's like zero hassle. It's one and done. It's hassle free.
Oh yeah, and risk free too. Like you
Yeah.
just give it right there, and that's it. You don't have to worry about shipping,
No,
getting
no
lost, or
taxes.
anything. Yeah, all that stuff.
Yeah. So there's so much, and I was just super happy to be there. A lot of the artists for a lot of cards were there,
That's
signing.
pretty cool.
Yeah, so they do that now at Magic Fest, where they get artists from that have like a pretty good card pool of cards that they've drawn. And what will happen is vendors are super smart. They'll buy they'll see like, oh, this and this artist will be there. Let's buy a bunch of their cards, foil or stamped or the highest version of that card. They'll buy out a bunch of them like a couple weeks before the event, and they'll take them to the event and then sell them at a premium, because people want to buy those cards to then get signed or altered or autographed, by the artist right then and there.
See, that's one thing I really wish Dragon Ball had, man. Because if we can find out who drew the Victory Strike,
or
man,
who drew any card. I mean, so it's really weird. I mean, with Dragon Ball and art. I mean, at the end of the day, Akira Toriyama drew everything, and then everybody's just like drawing off of his baseline. So it's kind of hard. Anime is weird, because the thing is, it's the same style of art in all of the Dragon Ball cards. It's you know, it's like anime style. But with like cards like Pokemon and Magic, you have ridiculously different types of art. Like I've seen Pokemon cards that are ugly as hell because they're like claymation style art. You have some that are almost like crayon art. You have some that are just like weird shadow photographic
Well, I think
art.
part of that is because they have such a huge variety of artists that come up with their different interpretations. Where Bandai, it's probably more strict and tries to be more consistent with their cards, so that it doesn't. They actually want the opposite effect, which is that it doesn't look like different people drew different cards, right? Like it almost feels like they're trying to do things differently. And with Pokemon, they're trying to get that variety of different interpretations of the same Pokemon, right? So, no, but I just like the concept of knowing who came up with like the Awakened Power, and having that person sign it. Just like you mentioned with Magic, I think that'd be so cool. I just don't know if we'll ever know because it's kind of like closed doors with Bandai.
Right, right. No, and Magic Fest was just really cool.
What is like Magic Fest for? Is it meant to be like a collector's convention? Is it for players? Like, tell us about like what this whole thing's for.
So back in the day, they used to be called qualifiers, which was like regionals almost, and then they renamed it to Grand Prix, so GPs. So GPs are basically big tournaments to qualify to go into like the bigger tournaments, to go into like the $250,000, $500,000, $1 million tournaments, and these are qualifiers to go into those tournaments. And then Magic as a brand has grown so much that they decided to make it almost like a convention where they're still running the qualifier at Magic Fest, but because they have so many things going on around the qualifier, they want to make it like a convention almost. So we had cosplayers there. We had people dressed up as, you probably don't know any of these names, Mike, but some of the listeners might. We had Golurk. We had people dressed up as Jace and Ashiok, and it was just really, really cool.
I know Jace. That's the only one I know, and that's only because for the War of Spark, there was a lot of hype around getting the alt art for him and
Liliana.
And Liliana, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the only way. That's the only reason I know Jace. But yeah, you're right. Most of them I definitely don't know.
Yeah. So it's like Magic has grown so big that they made it into like I said, like a convention style event where you have your qualifier, but then you have like side events. Like if you like a certain format, like you like to play Commander, you like to play Standard, you like to play Modern, you like to play Pioneer, you like to play all these different formats. They support them there, and people play them. And then you have your qualifier in the middle. So it depends. Like if you're a casual player, a collector, or just somebody who just loves Magic, it's such a great place. I know a lot of collectors like to go because it's a great way to pick up raw singles for either grading purposes or just binder collecting. Because you'll find, like I said, I spent 5 months looking for a card in person, couldn't find it. Go to one Magic Fest, my first Magic Fest, while searching for this card. And I find it. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like easy to find. The card that I was looking for was a foil Palicron from Urza Saga, and yeah, those things are not easy to find.
So let me ask you this, because this really doesn't make any sense to me. Why don't these vendors just grade it themselves? Why are they trying to sell them raw?
So because they buy them right then and there.
Right, but then like if you're trying as a vendor, I'm assuming they're trying to make as much money as possible off of these cards, especially if something they have is either A, super vintage or super hard to find, or B, is like super valuable. Why not have it encased, have it preserved, have it in a better,
because people play with the cards. Because people play with the cards.
Even the old stuff?
Especially the old stuff. Palicron's almost 20 years old.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And the version that I have only exists 20 years ago. So this is what it comes down to. There's 3 reasons why. A Beckett 8.5 cost about the same as a near mint raw when it comes to vintage. Most vintage Magic cards.
Yeah.
If you have a near mint raw, it will sell for generally what an 8.5 Beckett would sell for. So, as the vendor, you have to look at a lot of different things. Number one, is this card played, mild played, light played, heavy played, damaged, or near mint? When you're dealing with vintage cards, 90% of them are going to be played. So they're not going to get an 8 off the bat. So by getting it graded, you're now devaluing the card, and you make it a lot harder to sell. That's the thing. Vendors have a huge, like, there's a card called Underground Ocean? I don't even, I think it was Underground Sea, I think it was. But anyways, I saw the card, the exact same set, version, everything, and I saw people selling it between 120 and 800 because of the condition. And obviously the one that was like 120 was like heavy damage played, but the card is still playable. And if you want to play with the card, those are the cards you want to go for, are the heavy play, mild played, damaged but still playable cards, because that's again, some of these cards have never, due to the reserve list, these cards have never been reprinted. So this is the only way you can get these cards. And if you want to play with these cards, you have to pay a premium. So some people who just want to play with the cards will most often than not, there's a market for damaged and moderate played and heavy played of vintage cards, and that's to the players. That's the high end players in terms of like, I want to play with an expensive, like I have a commander deck, and my commander deck alone is worth like $8,000. You know, like the Palicron alone is $300, and the deck's a 100-card deck. Like, yeah, like I have foil, borderless, full art lands from Unstable, and each island is worth about $100, and I have 8 of those in the deck. That's
So
8.
did you mostly go to this to just look for unique stuff to buy, or did you actually end up playing? Like, what else did you do at this?
I went with the main purpose of like my primary goal was to look for this card, but I knew so many of my
friends. Means that much to you, huh?
There's a list of cards that I want, and it was on that list. You know, with Magic, since Magic can get really expensive, I budget myself like, okay, this is the next card to go for, and then this is the next one, and so on and so forth.
That's really smart.
You know, and because I have a list, so the next one on the list was a foil Palicron, and I'm like, I need to find this card. Super hard to find. It's expensive, even played, and I don't want a played one. I want like a near mint or lightly played version. So you know, that was my primary focus. But I played it at the event. I played Commander. I played a couple side events. I did a couple of the fun ticket exchanges at the event, and got to meet some of the artists. I mean, so right now there's a cat deck, and I think the art is like really like funny, and people are like laughing there, like it's pretty funny, Mike. Like if you look up the cats, they're pretty funny, because they're like almost, I don't know if you know the chibi doll terminology. Have you ever heard that chibi doll?
Not really.
So in Japan, there's a term called chibi, which is where basically a character has like a big head and big eyes, disproportionate.
Oh yeah. So what does that mean about? It just means that they make a doll version of that.
So there's a deck called Cat Sacrifice, and there's and it's a more modern cards, and they made a bunch of cats that are just stupid cute because they're all chibi style, and the artist for those cats was there, and it was pretty funny. I want to see if I can find some of them, but yeah, no. Overall, the event was great. I think if you like Magic in any term, collector, player, casual player, anything, just fun to go. The fact that you have the original artist who wants to look at his card that he drew, and he's altering the card to what he would like it to now look like, or like to evolve the art, where they draw on the art with like pastel colors and oil, paint, is really, really cool.
Yeah, that's actually pretty cool. I'm kind of curious. Did this event cost any money to go, like an entrance fee?
So it's free to go in and just walk around. If you want to play in the side events, it costs money. To get stuff, like signed or autographed and stuff like that. That costs money too. But to just go and buy stuff from the vendors, 100% free.
Yeah.
So
No, that's awesome.
yeah,
I mean, it sounds like overall is pretty cool. Yeah. Is there anything else you wanted to add to this?
no, it was just a really good, just really good. Um, it was just a great event. I can't say anything more about it. It was just phenomenal.
All right. That wraps it up for today's episode. Good to talk to you again, Zeke, and thanks to y'all for listening. We'll talk to you next time.
Later.